Evening, everyone. It's 6:20, and this is your closing comment. It is video number 1099 for Monday evening, January the 10th. Okay, so everybody saw the big bounce. I wouldn't fall in love with it. Yes, there were a lot of stocks that were oversold. Yes, they're somewhat better tonight. I mean, it's better that the Dow didn't close down 500, only closed down 162. But the Nasdaq at up $6.93, even though it was down almost 400, is not that great a bounce when you consider that it was down every day this year so far. So I'm just cautious, and I remind everyone that I warned about the setup here after the Santa Claus rally that petered out on day 4. And I think that the setup for the first quarter is not very encouraging. We have CPI and PPI coming Tuesday and Wednesday. We also have retail sales on Friday, and I would expect those to be very good. But, the problem with that is that very good is only because people were pulling those sales forward because they were concerned about not being able to get what they wanted if they didn't. So I expect that to actually be peak earnings for the XRT stocks. As far as sectors here, 8 of the 11 S&P sectors still finished lower. And in my sector watch that I put out in the daily note, we had food service, supply chain, biopharma, and pot were the only ones that were higher, and those were mixed to higher. On the mixed side were financials, work from anywhere, and the mega caps, and the rest were down. So not overwhelming. The Dow finished down 162, or about 0.5%. As I said, the Nasdaq finished up $6.93, or 0.5%. I will tell you that the advanced declines on both of those were 2-to-1 down. We didn't spike up and hold in the VIX. We closed 1940 up just 0.64, and this was clearly telegraphed as an oversold bounce. And I will also remind you that these kind of counter trend rallies tend to be very sharp and very quick. So I know that there were a lot of people in the Discord room today trading GoodRx and a couple of other names. That's great. Just keep position sizes appropriate. S&P was down 674, Russell down 866. The biggest loser of the day was the transports, down 250, or 1.54%. That was 3 times what the Dow Industrials were down. T2 buying ZNGA. They don't like it over at T2. The stock closed 143, down 2160, or 13%, on a deal that is primarily cash. It's worth $9.86. ZNGA, which traded 918 this morning in the pre-market, could only get up into the 890s and closed 844, up 244, still 41%, but on a day like today, you take what you can get. After the close, RIVN had a bit of a piece of news that nobody liked. The stock had closed 81.44, down 484, with a low of 77.65. Remember that in November, the stock was 179. They had warned that they were going to be short on manufacturing, and as it turned out, their COO left last month. during the big rollout. They said it was planned, but they also didn't bother to tell anybody until after the close today. And the stock, which I said had a 77.65 low, made a new low 76.66. The last is 77.23, and that's an additional $4.50 lower. So 77.23 down 908 or 10.5%. The all-time low in this stock is 75.13, and that was also just last week. As far as the futures go, the oil was down 67, the gold was up $1.40. There really wasn't a lot of action in either. Bitcoin was down below 40,000, but closed pretty close to the high, 41,745. The high was 42,000 and very low change, and it was only down 125 after being down 1,700 during the day. The dollar was up about 0.3%. Bonds were up about 1/4 point. And nat gas, our first completed trade for the year, we sold half of the UNG calls on the 100% up rule. So let's hope this is the beginning of better things to come for the new year. All right, everyone. I'll be back first thing in the morning. By the way, the big beat here in the market, of course, was the 10-year trading as high as 181. Remember that last week, the 10-year closed 176, and that was up 24 basis points. So today it was a little further, and nobody was buying the dip until it went back to from over 181 to under 180 and finished around 177. That's when the buy the dip mentality seemed to surface again. As I said, remember to keep your position sizes appropriate. This is a treacherous market, and I don't think the downside's